Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Bob and Kevin Show. As you'll notice, Bob is not here because today we're doing a behind-the-scenes look of how the Bob and Kevin Show operates from the control room. Stay tuned. All right, so you're actually seeing me over here on this screen right here because I'm actually using OBS, which is the Open Broadcaster software, and I'm just gonna take you through how I operate things here in the control room. And so the reason we have two screens here right now is because we have what's called studio mode and the I guess the output over here. So over here on this screen on the left where I am right now, that is the preview, and if I transition myself over here on the right, that is actually what would get broadcast if we did a live stream. Now OBS is pretty cool because it does more than just live stream. Actually down here you'll see that you can actually start recording, start streaming, or you can do them both at the same time. The way OBS is set up is has scenes over here, and on each scene you have a source. So if we were to look at all the different scenes we have here, we've got one called intro, and it looks like a black screen right now. It's because it has what we call an intro stinger on it. And when I hit transition, it will play a video that we've pre-rendered, and Bob has made a lot of these videos for us, so kudos to him. And if I want to come back to me, there we go. Now the world will see me. If we do a video ahead of time, which you can see here where we interviewed Erica, that would actually be queued up here and ready to go. The way I've done it here, each one of these sources has options here. So we have a pre-recorded text label there. We have a common overlay, which we'll talk about a lot here in a bit. And we have, basically, I have an MP4, and you have different options here where you can loop, restart the video if it becomes active. That basically means if it comes over here to the right. I have what I call the control room view. And again, the only ones who can see the screen here on the left is me, and if I want the world to see it, I'll transition to it, and you can see me on the left and also there. I've got two webcams, so I've got this one here that I'm moving around here, and of course I've got the one right in front of me, so that's how I'm pulling that off. Another thing I can use, I have a Just Kevin scene here, and that's what we've been using there. And I also have a lower thirds edition where I can pop up my lower thirds real quick and then transition back. It gives the effect that we're showing it and then taking it away. Other cool stuff we got is we got the split view. The split view is where Bob and I talk a lot about everything, and that way the viewers can see both of us at the same time. Notice we have the lower thirds here. We got social media handles. We've also got the news. We've got a logo. We've got the little crypto values popping up there. We've got the date, the weather, hashtag up there. Now, a ton of this is dynamic, meaning I didn't have to put in the date up there. It just knew what the date was. The weather, it's pulling from a feed. The crypto value is pulling from a feed. Also, those headlines are coming from feeds there. If we were to look at the split view scene in OBS, I'm going to click it here on the left, and you can see that we have what we call the weather bug. I can take it, make it invisible here. Then, of course, the world can't see it until I transition to it. So you can use this to show and hide different things, and you can do this all in real time. We have the hashtag as a piece of text there. If we wanted to change it, we could actually come in here and just change it real quick, then transition to it. The current date, that is one of the plugins that we've made, and in fact it's just an embedded tiny web page local here, and no web servers needed. In fact, we have a repo that will let you do all these sorts of things. All you gotta do is download it and point to it. We have what's called the common overlay. So if I check the eyes there, you can see that the crawl went away, the crypto went away, the logo went away. So we call that the common overlay. And what that is it's a scene on its own, and we can actually do a scene within a scene. So we can nest scenes there. And what's cool also is we can do the show song here, and that is part of the common overlay. We got KG Twitter, all this stuff. Basically, it's our lower thirds and social media. My camera is right there. Now, for Bob, I actually have a third monitor, and while you can't see it here, in fact, let me switch to control room so you can see it here. Up there, we have a little tiny monitor right there, and when I'm talking to Bob, he's actually on Zoom or Hangouts or whatever we want, Skype, and actually do a screen capture of that. So if we come back here to the split view, that's why you'll see small monitor 2, because that's actually Bob. So we have various ways of getting other feeds in here, and that's kind of our limiting factor here. So when we have guests, or when I have Bob on, I kind of run out of monitors because we don't have a real feed like we do the webcams. Those webcams are directly connected to my machine, where everyone remote has to have their own thing. I also have a common background right now. It's a scene within a scene again, but it's just an image there. Now, if you notice here on the left, I can actually click a few things, and that's because I've got that one unlocked. So if we go up here, the hashtag, and unlock that one, we can move that around, and we see it there. Then if I transition, we can show the world. So again, more real-time stuff if you need to fix something. We spend a lot of time in here composing things, and if you want to resize things, you certainly can. You can right-click things, get your properties. Cropping is essential. So if I go to the small monitor 2, you can see that I can quickly crop the screen here. I can scale it. I can do whatever I need. And that's the split view. So we spend a lot of time here. If we go to what I call the composite view, this is basically where I've got yet another monitor, and I'll show you that here. So if I move over here, move the microphone out of the way, sort of, you can see there I got this monitor over here, and when I interact with this screen over here, it will show up directly in the composite view here. And we'll switch back here. So you can see that I can manipulate things here. Now you may be wondering, well, where's the crawl and all that? Well, I can add our common overlay here, and I've actually got it here. Let me just enable it, and there it is. And these are all layered, so make sure you put these in order that you want, top being the highest up, and underneath things towards the bottom. And this is a good scene here that allows us to be able to interact with a web page directly. OBS does have a browser plugin, and we actually don't use it too much. In fact, I'll show you why here. So we've got the tweet deck here, and this is actually using the local OBS browser plugin here. Problem is in order to interact with this, it's kind of clunky. You got to come over here somewhere. You've got to find it here, and you got to select interact, and then you get this pop up here. And while it works, it's just kind of funky. So what I've evolved to is that composite view, and I also have what I call the live browser scene over here, and this is just a full screen and screen capture of my monitor here. So that's very useful if I want to real-time go to it. Now I have this browser full screened, so if I wanted to switch to other things I could, but you just got to worry about the full screen. We have other things like this tech headline stinger. Again, this is just an MP4 that's pre-compiled. Bob made that cool matrixy looking thing there, and you can set it to loop, so if we wait too long here, it will start over. And that is the tech headlines one. We have our call to subscribe here, and this is a little bit of movie magic here, because scene within a scene here on the right, and then we point to the corner here, because the way what YouTube will do is they'll put our subscribe logo down here in the bottom right, so I can kind of transition to that. And you've probably noticed by now the audio doesn't jump or anything between these scenes here. And in the center of the screen here, you can see the desktop audio, the mic audio, the show song, all your different audio that's coming in. You do have a mixer. Strangely, it's missing out of like XSplit, or at least, definitely not straightforward. But again, you can send things to the headphones. That's why I wear headphones, because I can hear things that Bob can't. So Bob actually can't hear the show song and things like that. So he's got to pretend. And when Bob talks, he'll actually come through my desktop audio here, where I have my own mic. So it's good that I have my own mic track. It's good that Bob's on here. However, both the shows, or basically if there's two people talking when we're doing an interview, they both come through that desktop audio, and I can't easily raise and lower one or the other. We have a Bitcoin pizza here. This is a staple of the show, and this is just a browser view from OBS. We don't really interact with that. Sometimes I got to squint to read the numbers there. Let's see. We have the breaking news here, which we don't use near enough, but it's really cool, so I thought I'd drop that in there. We have the quiz time Again, we can just add a little audio track to that, and Bob makes some really cool stuff for us. Speaking of cool, this is the Bob called it the fun stinger, and it's just, you know, you can see it right there. It is pretty darn fun. And other things. Oh, let's get down here to common overlay. So right here, common overlay is a scene by itself. So if I were to unlock everything here, you can see that, okay, we've got one thing there, we've got another thing there, so on and so forth, the crawl, the logo, and the crypto, and we can move those around just simply by dragging and dropping. And again, each one of those, if it's dynamic content, except for the logo here, is a little tiny web page, and they're all independent, so they all have their own copy of jQuery and whatever dependencies they have and whatnot. Common background. The reason I went with this is because in case we want to do multiple things on the background right now, it's just got an image on it. Another thing that I've been trying is this split thing. We actually haven't used this for any sort of things yet. So if we go to live browser and I turn that on, you can see that I can give a little bit of context, even though it's really busy right now. And we can appear on top of the live browser view, and I can decide, okay, fade you out, and we didn't lose a beat over there. So again, OBS has all these cool things here. One thing you can also do in OBS, so these are the BK Show 2 collection of scenes. If I want to switch over to an interview, so when we interviewed Erica the other day, I just want to limit myself to some different things here. And the reason is notice that there's no common overlay. It's because we're going to replay this video. So we're going to record this as an MP4, and then we'll import it onto its own scene when it comes to the next episode on Monday. And so I've got similar things here, just kind of the different things I want to transition to. We've got a composite view, just the guest. Just so you know, when we have a guest, since I have 3 monitors, Bob appears on the small monitor, and the guest appears on the large monitor, and it actually makes it difficult to have any sort of extra live browser view because I'm kind of out of monitors at that point. So all right, so in general, that's how a lot of that works, in, you know, scenes and sources and different scene collections, transitions. You have different ones here, not a whole lot. We don't really use plugins from OBS, like they have a market or a downloads thing, because most of that stuff can be done or done better with simple JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. I do have a video that I'll link to here to talk about it. I'll also link to the repo that we have, a bunch of free stuff you can download and use in your show immediately. If we focus over here on the right here, you'll see that we do have settings in OBS. This is where you're going to put in your stream key for your YouTube. Different settings here. I would recommend ticking the box that says record and stream at the same time, because we've had a couple occasions where our internet, or my internet, craps out, and thankfully we're also recording the show, because what we can do is we can say, okay, let's just upload the full, nice, high-quality version after the show if we have a catastrophic internet failure. And so that is a little look behind the scenes of the control room of the Bob and Kevin show. I hope it was somewhat informational here, and if you have any questions, get a hold of us. But of course, what I want you to do is watch the show and subscribe. Again, thanks for watching.